We like to think we are free, that every choice we make belongs entirely to us. But what if the stress that keeps us up at night isn't even ours? But what if we're just carrying forward generations of unspoken pressure, recycled ambition wearing new clothes? What about that? Our grandparents survived wars and depressions. Our parents survived survival itself. And we inherited their urgency, polished it, branded it, and called it productivity. But survival wasn't meant to become a lifestyle. Our fathers didn't talk about therapy, they talked about work. Our mothers didn't rest, they multitasked themselves into legends. And somewhere in between, we learned that exhaustion was a form of loyalty. That to rest was to regress. That to stop was to fail. That busy was the new worthy. We did not invent burnout, we just refined it. There's a reason every generation calls the next one soft. Because each one forgets that softness was what they were working towards. They fought so we could breathe easier. And now we feel guilty for not gasping. We confuse calm with complacency. We mistake pace for purpose. And we build lives that look successful from the outside, but sound like panic on the inside. Psychologists call it inheritance stress response. It's how trauma, scarcity, and fear can shape entire lineage. When a grandfather fights famine, his son grows up hoarding savings. When that son raises a child, he teaches him security through overachievement. Different century, same fear, just translated into Wi-Fi and deadlines. Think about it. Why do so many of us feel restless even when life is stable? Because our nervous system doesn't know how to live in peace. It's been trained for alarm, rewarded for chaos, and addicted to the what's next. Our parents called it responsibility. We call it burnout. But biologically, it's the same cortisol in a different century. We talk about breaking cycles, but you can't break what you don't recognize. Inherited stress isn't loud. It hides in our choices, in the jobs we chase, the relationship we repeat, and the silence we keep when we should be asking for help. We call it personality, but it's inheritance with better lightning. Every generation creates its own myth of balance. Our grandparents had endurance. Our parents had duty. We have therapy and self-care hashtags, but the anxiety still leaks through the cracks because you can't meditate your way out of a mindset you won't challenge. Sometimes I wonder if our parents ever truly rested, or if they just paused long enough to remind themselves they couldn't afford to move. And now their children chase freedom while living like prisoners of potential. We call it ambition, but it's often just fear of failure in designer clothes. The modern world sells us burnout as identity. Grind, hustle, no days off. We romanticize exhaustion and mistake it for discipline. But inherited stress isn't discipline, it's dysfunction with structure. And the scariest part, we are proud of it. We brag about sleep deprivation like Medal of Honor. We celebrate being booked and busy as if empty space were a sin. But if your peace only exists on your calendar, you are not living. You are scheduling survival. It's strange how guilt transfers too. Our parents felt guilty resting. We feel guilty succeeding because no matter what we do, it never feels like enough. The finish line keeps moving, not because of capitalism, but because of conditioning. You can leave the village, but you can't outrun the habits built to keep it alive. Here's the quiet truth. Every generation wants to do better, but better always comes with baggage. Our fathers taught us hard work, but forgot to teach us when to stop. Our mothers taught us resilience, but forgot to show us rest. And now we teach ourselves boundaries, but still whisper apologies while setting them. That's inherited stress. The instinct to earn everything, even peace. Some call it emotional trauma. I call it emotional debt. You can pay it off, but only if you stop borrowing pain that is not yours. It starts small. You question your pace. You take an afternoon off without guilt. You stop apologizing for choosing peace over pressure. That's rebellion now, not protest signs, but stillness. You can't fix the past, but you can stop performing its patterns. You can work hard without worshiping struggle. You can build legacy without becoming the sacrifice. That's the new definition of masculine evolution. Not louder, but wiser. Not faster, but fuller. We talk about privilege, but rarely about the privilege of rest. Our grandparents earned survival. Our parents earned security. Maybe our job is to earn serenity, to make stillness the next inheritance. Because the strongest legacy a man can leave isn't just wealth or wisdom. It's a nervous system that isn't at war with itself. We are the bridge generation caught between the silence of our fathers and the self-awareness of our sons. And it's our responsibility to translate survival into something sustainable, to tell the next generation, you don't have to earn peace. Just learn it. Because life isn't supposed to feel like an endless apology for what your ancestors endured. You can honor their pain without repeating it. Inherited stress builds our resilience, but it doesn't have to define our rhythm. The mission isn't to outwork our fathers, it's to outgrow their fear. And maybe the measure of progress isn't what we build, but what we unlearn. That's how generational pressure becomes modern peace, when we decide the race ends with us. I'll catch you in the next one.